southwestern tip of the Chinese mainland, on the 3 islands near Dongxing City, Guangxi, lives the only ethnic minority in China living on the sea, the Jing people. One-way Golden Beach is 13 kilometres long. Here sea creatures generally live in shallow water. Over 500 years ago, the Jing people's ancestors noted the behaviour of the sea creatures, so they began making stilts out of wood, creating a unique fishing method called stilt fishing.
My name is Gao Aming. I'm a stilt fisherman. When high tide would rise over their heads, the fishermen had to stop fishing. One islander creatively used stilts to raise himself up, so he caught more fish.
Gao Aming is a highly skilled stilt fisherman. One early morning in October, he goes stilt fishing with his apprentice Yang. Yang doesn't have any stilts yet, so Gao Aming begins making a pair for him. When they are done, he ties the bamboo pole and the wooden sticks to form a solid triangle net frame. Gao Aming observes the sea in the distance. Fish often appear in the morning and at dusk when the tide rises. The tide hasn't risen yet, so he quickly stakes his fishing net.
The wind is strong today. Shake harder! Shake!
It takes a lot of effort to stake his fishing net.
Find the right direction. The wind is strong.
Gao Aming learned the art of stilt fishing years ago. His father became an expert at stilt fishing in order to support his family. Later, the Jing people developed a modern fishing industry, so they no longer depended on stilt fishing. Currently, Gao Aming is one of 5 people who know how to fish on stilts in the village. Before the tide rises, Gao Aming teaches Yang how to walk on stilts.
Look ahead, look ahead. Take a small step. Walk slowly. You can walk by yourself. Try to relax.
Yang can walk steadily along the beach already, so Gao Aming decides to let him try pushing the net through the water.
Push it forward. A little harder. Hold on. Watch out! Don't fall down! Watch out! Oh no! I'm fine. You have to fall down a few times. It helps you gain some experience.
The weather changes rapidly on Golden Beach. In the blink of an eye, a storm suddenly breaks. Gao Aming wants to show Yang the fishing skills passed down by their ancestors. Gao Aming is walking on stilts. When the waves surge, he and the stilts have to withstand the hit.
The net is rather heavy. If I don't exert my strength, or I'm careless, I will fall over.
The funnel-shaped fishing net weighs around 35 kilos when wet. In addition to strength and courage, skill is needed too.
When the waves are strong, you follow the direction of the wind power. Hold the net pole firmly against the force of the water.
At that very moment, a storm suddenly blows up. Gao Ming has fought against the wind and waves for an hour already. He hasn't caught any fish. He's already exhausted. He stakes the pole to take a rest. 2 hours later, Gao Ming lifts the fishing net. This time he has caught something.
Hurry up! I've got fish!
He didn't catch much, but he believes it doesn't matter at all. Fighting bravely against the waves like his ancestors makes him a real man. People along the coast walk on stilts to honor their ancestors' fighting spirit. While across the Taiwan Strait, there is a drum-making artist who inherits the skill of past generations.
I am Huang Xiaobao. I have been engaged in this profession for 3 decades. My dad also practiced this profession.
65-year-old Huang Xiaobao, the drum king of Taiwan, is in his workshop every day and about to complete a very large drum. The drum was custom-made for an eminent old monk from Mount Wutai in Shanxi province. It's 175 centimeters in height and 170 centimeters wide. It takes at least 4 people to encircle it. Mr. Wang's ancestral home is in Zhangzhou, Fujian province. His father was a famous master drum maker in New Taipei City. His father had hoped Mr. Wang could study hard and avoid the laborious trade of drum making. But his father's sudden death left the family business unattended, and being a good son, Mr. Wang refused to let his father's drum shop close. So he started learning drum making from scratch at 30. That was 35 years ago. To make this enormous drum, Mr. Wang has chosen the finest rosewood. Nearly 60 pieces of wooden shell are used. The hardness, thickness and dryness of the wood will determine the sound and lifespan of the drum.
Plane the inside like this. Plane it like this. The customers can't see this bit once the drum skin is on, but I have to make it well.
After his day's work, Mr. Wang visits the Drum Culture Center near his home. He set up this place as a memorial to his late father. He comes here every day after work. A drum made by his father 70 years ago is kept here. Its drum beat is still deep and strong.
The sound of the drum is like my father urging me to work hard and ensure that our Xing Ren He drums live up to their reputation. I do this every single day as a daily reminder.
The next day, Mr. Wang is ready to stretch the drum skin. It's the final stage in the drum making process.
If you make it very rigorously, the drum will sound good. Otherwise, the drum can only be played for 2 or 3 years tops.
After adjusting the hemp ropes, Mr. Wang uses a pump to inflate the drum from below. He will go over each detail of the fitting process and examine it inch by inch. If any part of it is found to be uneven, he will meticulously readjust it.
Right.
The
Slowly
drum
now.
skin is getting tighter and tighter. The wood of the drum shell is under great pressure.
If the wood is too soft, the drum will be prone to distortion. It sounds like thunder.
After 3 hours of repeated adjustments, the timbre of the drum is finally satisfying. But the adjustments can't be completed all at once. Mr. Wang will spend the whole week making adjustments like this.
Whenever I play the drum, it always feels like my father is talking to me. We need to keep studying traditional techniques and progress constantly. There's a saying in Taiwan that goes, you can never learn a skill in just a few years.
Skilled craftsmen can transform wood into music. In Gertu River Basin in southwest Guizhou province, some people follow a unique tradition of climbing up to their ancestors' wooden coffins on the cliff face and pay their respects to the dead. Over 2,000 years ago, the Book of Changes recorded Chinese people making wooden coffins and placing the dead high up in trees to pray for longevity and immortality. Centuries ago, ancestors of the Miao people along the Gertu River made wooden coffins for their dead and suspended the coffins high up on cliffs or in rock caves. Today, they have given up their tradition of cliff-face coffins, but the unique free climbing skills to fix coffins to the cliff walls have been passed down.
My name is Huang Xiaobao, and I'm a Spider-Man. Local people nicknamed free climbers Spider-Men. There are 6 Spider-Man disciples. I am the eldest, the senior disciple. I've been practicing free climbing for 40 years.
53-year-old Huang Xiaobao lives in a Miao village on the banks of the Gertu River. He is a local master of free climbing. He always takes his disciples to practice free climbing near the Swallow Cave on the Gertu River. The hollows and protrusions of rock on the cliffs of the local karst topography provide convenient footholds for Huang Xiaobao in his free climbs. When he was 5, Huang Xiaobao contracted polio, which caused muscle atrophy in his legs. He learned free climbing from an old man in the village at the age of 12. Miraculously, Huang Xiaobao succeeded in learning free climbing.
Rub your hands, that's about right. Rub your hands so you're able to feel your way as you climb.
Today, Huang Xiaobao is training his youngest disciple. He's been training for a month already. There will be a formal assessment tomorrow, so today is his last day of practice.
I've been climbing for so long that you can see my hands have become like hawk's claws. They're all deformed, like this.
Huang Jinlin is from the same village. He started free climbing when he was a child. He has just returned from working in the city and hopes to join the Spider-Man. Huang Xiaobao gives him a thorough recap of his free climbing skills.
Hold on to that tree root.
At the end of the training, Huang Xiaobao and his second eldest disciple climb with the youngest disciple. On the way down, the second eldest disciple gets into trouble. His experience enables him to get out of difficulty, thus averting an accident. Their rock climbing originated in the local custom of setting up cliff coffins. After a morning of training, they take the youngest disciple to see the cliff coffins.
These are the cliff coffins of our ancestors. They carried planks of wood up the cliff face one by one using free climbing, and then assembled them into coffins to house the corpses.
The next day, Huang Xiaobao takes the youngest disciple to the Swallow Cave. Huang Xiaobao and the other disciples perform free climbing here every day. Will the youngest disciple qualify as a Spider-Man today? The real test for him will be to safely complete the climb up and down the 108-meter cliff face of the Swallow Cave. Huang Xiaobao is concerned for his safety, so he will climb with him part of the way.
Come on, let's try it together first. Okay. Good. That's right. Careful. Hold here with your right hand.
The cliff of the Swallow Cave is extremely steep. 108 meters is the equivalent of a 40-story building. Below the cliff is a deep abyss. The underground river rolls away inside the cave.
Careful, careful. You must be careful.
Huang Xiaobao can climb up and down these cliffs in 10 minutes, but today he decided to climb only halfway. He will let the youngest disciple climb the rest of the way alone.
Keep to the left, then you can climb up that way. Hold on! Pull yourself up! Push! Push with your feet! Pull yourself up!
It takes the youngest disciple only 7 minutes to reach 108 meters. But climbing up is easier than going down. Getting down the cliff safely will be a great test for him. On his way down, Huang Xiaobao performs the trick of hanging on with only one hand. The youngest disciple follows suit.
Good! You did it! Great! Great, you performed well. You did well.
The youngest disciple succeeded in his first free climb, and the Spider-Men welcome him, a new member to their team.
I am a Spider-Man! We are Spider-Men!
The practice of cliff burials died out long ago, but for Huang Xiaobao, each climb the Spider-Men perform is a way of paying respect to their ancestors. In the northwest desert far away from Guizhou province, master Morin Kerr makers carry on the millennia-old tradition of chopping wood and turning them into wonderful musical instruments. Alsa Left Banner is located in the westernmost corner of Inner Mongolia, in the vast and boundless Tengger Desert. The nomadic herdsmen here honour a supreme wooden instrument, the Morin Kur.
I am Ba Yendai, an inheritor of the Morin Kur. The Morin Kur is my life. I lay my Morin Kur beside my pillow when I go to sleep at night.
Ba Yandai is the master Morin Kur maker in his local area. He started out as a carpenter and then switched to making Morin Kur when he was 52. It is early in the morning and Ba Yandai has just bought a batch of materials with his apprentices. He's going to make a Morin Kur for a herdsman in the desert.
For generations, herdsmen and their horses have been mutually dependent on each other. Hearing the sound of the Morin Kur always reminds a herdsman of his beloved horse.
After arriving home with the materials, Ba Yandai starts making the Morin Kur. The Morin Kur is a traditional Mongolian stringed instrument. It evolved from the Urhu and the Tang and Song dynasties and gained popularity during the reign of Genghis Khan. It earned its name from the horse head carved at the top. Soon the traditional Mongolian festival of Nadam will begin. Ba Yandai must finish the Morin Kur in time for this event.
It takes much longer to make the Morin Kur by hand. A machine can carve dozens of horse heads per day, but we can carve only one by hand.
A Morin Kur consists of a scroll, a long neck, a rectangular sound box and other parts. When making a Morin Kur, different parts are traditionally made out of different types of wood.
The neck, side plate, and the back plate of the sound box are made out of Chinese fir, maple, or walnut, while the string board and the front plate are made using empress tree wood or eastern white pine.
While Ba Yandai is busy making the Morin Kur, the annual Camel Nadam in Alsa Left Banner is about to begin. The Camel Nadam is an annual festival for herdsmen. Nomadic herdsmen from across the land will come here with their camels and take part in various camelback competitions. They will also take this opportunity to trade goods at the market. For Ba Yandai, the Nadam is a good place to sell Morin Kur to the herdsmen. On the third day of Nadam, the Morin Kur is ready. In the morning, Ba Yandai hurries out with his apprentices. Before going to the Nadam, he will deliver the Morin Kur to the herdsman. Most importantly, he must make it to the Nadam in time to sell his Morin Kurs. The herdsman lives by an oasis in the desert. It will take them a day to reach him. At noon, Ba Yandai decides to take a break for lunch before continuing their journey.
In every Mongolian herdsman's house, the Morin Kur is a highly valued musical instrument. You should always wash your hands thoroughly before you play it. You mustn't be careless and play it without washing your hands after using the bathroom, or the host will be offended. Let's set off!
In the afternoon, Ba Yandai and his two apprentices finally reach Mr. Ma, the herdsman who commissioned the Morin Kur.
That's his home there. Nearly there. Hello, Mr. Ba. You must be tired. I've brought you the Morin Kur this time.
According to the traditional ritual, Mr. Ma respectfully places the Morin Kerr beside a niche containing a statue of the Buddha. The sound of Ba Yandai and his apprentices playing the Morin Kerr attracts nearby herdsmen. Slowly, they trickle into Mr. Ma's home, so the concert was moved from Mr. Ma's yurt to the desert outside.
Every time we play a piece of music on the Morin Kur for the herdsmen, I'm really delighted to see the smiles on their faces. How much for this Morin Kur? 1,800 yuan.
At the Nadam festival, Ba Yandai receives more orders for Morin Kerr than usual. People living in the desert make wooden musical instruments, while the Atayal people in Lalashan, Taiwan, live in and live by the forest. They always follow their ancestors' principle of coexisting harmoniously with the forest. Lalashan Nature Reserve contains the largest stand of giant red cypress trees in Southeast Asia. 22 giant red cypresses are over 1,000 years old. The king, the largest cypress of them all, is 2,800 years old. This is the home of Jiang Qingzhi, an Atayal.
My mother is Atayal, and my father is Han Chinese. My dad is from Pinghe County, Fujian Province. There are many giant cypress trees here. We all treasure the cypresses. We would never cut them down.
Atayal means the brave and true people. The Atayal indigenous people live on both sides of northern Taiwan. Farming and hunting are their primary ways of life. They are usually engaged in farming, but during the off-season, they may hunt in the forest. This young man, Ai, has never hunted before. Today, Mr. Jiang will take him to hunt flying squirrels. Mr. Jiang is a very well-read and knowledgeable old man. According to Atayal tradition, they offer sacrifices before entering the mountains.
Beautiful mountains, magnificent tall trees.
To the Atayal people, these mountain forests are sacred. Every tree has a soul and should not be disturbed. The Atayal people have lived in these forests for thousands of years. They still hand down their hunting principles of maintaining the forest ecosystem.
We only catch fully grown animals and release the young ones. We usually choose not to catch the mothers. We release them so they can continue the next generation. We would never try to exterminate them or think that the forest resources were inexhaustible. As long as the Green Mountain stands, we needn't worry about our livelihood.
Mr. Jiang wants to catch a kind of flying black squirrel that is not a protected species.
They sleep in the daytime and come out to hunt for food at night. Experienced hunters prefer to hunt them during the day.
One flying squirrel will be enough for their supper. The Atayal people never ask the forest for too much. The forest is their indispensable resource. Mr. Jiang shows his gratitude to the forest by singing a traditional song.
We should thank the giant red cypresses for their blessing. The tree spirits provide so many wild animals for our use. They also play an important role in conserving water and soil and providing us with animals, so all the people of our tribe feel grateful to them. They will also bless our tribe's sustainable development.
The Atayal people live in harmony with the giant red cypresses, while the people of the pretty region south of the Yangtze River live in harmony with bamboo. They often make artistic creations using bamboo. China has the most abundant supply of bamboo in the world, and so nicknamed the Bamboo Kingdom. There are large bamboo forests all along the Yangtze River Valley. Located along the lower reaches of the Yangtze River, Changzhou, Jiangsu Province, is rich in bamboo, so the people here collect it to make Liu Qing-style bamboo carvings.
I am Xu Chunjing, a third-generation inheritor of the Xu family's Liu Qing-style bamboo carvings. I have been practicing this art for nearly 30 years.
Xu Chungjing is a local. She started bamboo carving at the age of 13. The local people call her bamboo carving fairy. Her father, Xu Bingfeng, is a local master of bamboo carving. Today is the last day of December. Miss Xu and her father are heading to the mountains to gather bamboo and prepare the wood for use the following year. With over 10,000 hectares of Moso bamboo, Nanshan Bamboo Sea in Liyang is their preferred place to gather bamboo. The bamboo used in Liu Qing style carving is subject to strict requirements. According to her father's experience, only unfertilized bamboo between 3 and 4 years old, with bright, clean stems free of wormholes, long bamboo joints, and a solid, compact texture, is suitable for bamboo carving.
It's slippery! It's slippery! Okay.
The Xu family has been producing bamboo carvings for generations. Xu Chungjing is carrying this inheritance. At the age of 19, she became an air stewardess, but she quit after 2 years.
They all asked me why I quit. I said I just didn't care. All I really cared about was learning bamboo carving. I don't want much. It's enough as long as I have something to live on.
Since then, Miss Xu has devoted herself to bamboo carving. Now, 25 years later, she still finds great pleasure in carving and looking for bamboo wood. After hiking over 3 mountains, she finally finds a fine bamboo in a remote valley.
There are few such fine bamboos here in the mountains.
Great caution is needed when carrying the bamboo. They would rather hurt themselves than leave even the tiniest scratch on the bamboo stem. When they head down the mountain at dusk, it begins to drizzle. Xu Wenjing, Chunjing's elder sister, is already waiting for them at the bottom. To prevent watermarks and wormholes from forming in the bamboo, the hewn boards require boiling the same night. After boiling for 20 minutes, the bamboo boards are taken out. They must be cleaned quickly to prevent the bamboo sap from condensing.
When they're taken out of the boiling water, the temperature of the boards is at least 100 degrees, so during the process, our hands usually end up covered with blisters.
At 1 a.m., they finish boiling and cleaning over 100 bamboo boards. These bamboo boards will be dried at home tomorrow morning. Bamboo boards cannot be left in the rain or dew. During the long 2-year drying process, 30% of the bamboo boards will be discarded due to cracking. The next day, Xu Chungjing begins carving a bamboo board that was prepared 2 years ago. Bamboo is divided into 3 parts, namely bamboo skin, bamboo fibre, and tabashir. Using craft knives and chisel, she carves her design onto the bamboo skin, which is barely 1 millimetre thick. Remove the bamboo skin in between the pattern, revealing the layer of bamboo fibre underneath. There are 3 steps in Liu Qing style bamboo carving: gathering the bamboo, boiling the bamboo boards and carving. It may take several months or even years to finish one bamboo carving.
I consider leaving more or less space between carved patterns, creating both indefinite and clear carvings on the bamboo board, as a reflection of the qualities of traditional Chinese paintings. There are several steps to make a Liuqing-style bamboo carving.
Su Chungjing and her sister Wenjing began teaching their own apprentices bamboo carving. Their father, Xu Bingfeng, has been doing bamboo carving all his life. In his eyes, every child is like green bamboo. If he cultivates them well, they will carry on the bamboo carving skills.
When a Chinese painting is transposed and carved onto a bamboo board, it becomes an exquisite work of art. But before a successful work of art can be displayed to the public, a process involving a great many steps must first be performed, requiring a huge amount of effort on our part.
Trees are the friends of human beings. Chinese people hold special emotion and tradition toward trees. In southeastern Guizhou province in China, there is a place called Basha Miao village. In the Miao language, Basha means luxuriant grass and trees. Located amongst the green and lush mountain forests, Basha is known as the last tribe of gunmen. This place is home to one of 21 most mysterious indigenous tribes on Earth. People here regard trees as spirits, and they live and grow with the forest.
I am Gun Shuige. I'm rather fond of my indigenous culture. The villagers all call me the future village chief. My nephew, Gun Yuanla, is 15 years old this year. His coming-of-age ceremony will be held today. I am Gun Yuanla. I want to grow up quickly so I can help my parents with their manual labor.
Shuige, Yuanla's uncle, is an educated, cultured figure in the village. Today, he will host Yuanla's coming-of-age ceremony. Early in the morning, Shuige starts collecting donations of sticky rice door to door in the village.
Give me a bowl of sticky rice. Before his coming-of-age ceremony, a boy cannot be considered to be a man or be allowed to participate in any adult activities here in Basha.
According to tradition, Shuige takes Yuanla to bid farewell to his life tree before his coming-of-age ceremony.
A life tree is planted whenever a child is born. It lives and grows along with the child. At every festival and at New Year, the child goes to worship his life tree. Life tree, I become an adult today. Thank you for accompanying me these 15 years. The coming-of-age ceremony marks the fact that the tree has accompanied the child from their birth to adulthood. After that, the child can stop going to worship it.
Legend has it that when the ancestors of the Basha people needed somewhere to hide from their hunting enemies, the Basha forest protected them. Therefore, Basha people have always worshipped trees and kept many customs respecting and protecting them. Besides life trees, Basha people also appoint ill-fortune trees to pray for their children's health and safety. When a Basha person dies, they are not given a tomb or a gravestone. The person's life tree will be cut down and used to build the coffin they are buried in. Evergreen trees will also be planted on the spot to mark the grave.
Basha people consider evergreen trees to be a continuation of the lives of the dead in this world. These trees each represent a human being here in Basha, so we would never do anything to harm them. Every tree is one of our ancestors.
At the coming-of-age ceremony, it is customary to hold a feast for the villagers. Fish from the paddy fields will make their banquet more sumptuous.
In Basha, we hold the belief that upon a child's coming-of-age ceremony, the more fish we catch, the better their future life will be. I've caught a fish!
After catching fish, Shui Ge and Yuan La's father goes to visit a gun maker in the village to have a gun made for Yuan La.
There, take a look.
Since ancient times, Basha adult men have been equipped with knives and later with guns. They have exclusive permission to carry guns from the Chinese government. Yuan La will be presented with a gun as a symbol of his adulthood.
If a man has no gun, then in Basha it can be said that this man is incomplete. After his coming-of-age ceremony, my nephew will be equipped with a gun too.
Yuan La's coming-of-age ceremony will be held in the afternoon. There is an essential rite performed during the ceremony, having his head shaved with a sickle. Like all Basha boys, Yuan La has grown only one section of hair on top of his head since he was 1 year old. After he becomes an adult, he will wear it in a bun, which is called a protection stick, named after the protection tree. This is the traditional hairstyle of Basha men. Yuan La puts on the blue clothes that his mother has made, which symbolizes the beauty of tree bark. Yuan La is looking forward to the most important moment in his life. In the afternoon, relatives and friends come to the celebration. The village head begins to shave off Yuan La's hair with a sickle, usually used to cut grain.
Basha people worship trees, so they believe the bun on top of a man's head symbolizes a big tree, putting down deep roots in Basha men. To make the tree grow more luxuriantly, people need to remove the weeds around it. They hope that the boy will stand tall and upright between heaven and earth, just like a tree, and grow up strong and healthy.
After shaving Yuan La's head, Shui Ge gives him the gun.
Today Yuan La has become an adult.
The gunshots reverberating around the Miao village signal to their ancestors that another child of Basha Miao village has reached adulthood. Trees are the source of every life in spring. Trees are the origin of life. The life of everything on earth is dependent on trees. Trees are the source of human wisdom and civilization. For centuries, Chinese people have demonstrated their love and respect for trees. In the eyes of its inheritors, wood is a means of survival for people living by the sea, a place where souls rest, a hunting ground, the art of sound, the artistic sublimation, and the hope of life. With cultural inheritance, Civilizations never end. They become rooted like trees, living and growing for eternity.
I am Cai Zongshang, 18th generation inheritor of the quincuncial stake poles. I am an inheritor of playing the pennant pole. My name is Zhu Shiliang.
We are women performers.
I'm Liu Chaowei, a 22nd generation inheritor of watertight bulkhead junk building. Mi Lingan's dream was to build a tribe and pass on the ancient wisdom.